Well, hello YouTube, and welcome to Can We Make a Bass Amp Sound Like a Guitar Amp? Volume 1. So, if you watch the other videos, Guess This Amp Part 1, which turned out to be Part 2 and 3 and 4. So, here's where we're at today. We are going to do a little sound clip comparison to see if I can make that little Rumble 15 sound more like a guitar amp. I'm putting out some guitar-ish frequencies, a little bit better than what it is stock, by installing this Jensen Special Design 8 ohm 20 watt 8-inch speaker. So I'm not really sure of all the specs on this thing. I should probably look them up before making these videos, but the cone is kind of like a greenish. I don't know if you can see that. Let me put that under the light. Probably looks black to you, but it's the cone itself is very green, and it doesn't feel like a paper cone. So I don't know. I mentioned last video, I think it might, maybe it's a hemp cone, or, but I thought hemp was more brown. But anyway, all I know is that this was on Amazon. It had like 130 or 180, I can't remember now. But anyway, it had 130-ish reviews, and they were all 5-star. Every single one of them was 5-star. Called a couple of stores, inquired about these speakers, and they said that they were really good, nice and tight. They're supposed to handle distortion well, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we're going to see. So to do an experiment, I guess you kind of got to control some variables. Don't mind the mess back there. Kids had a sleepover, and there was like this ginormous yoga ball that they used to like do flips on, and sure, it was all good. Anyway, so here's how we're going to conduct this test. So as you guys know, how I came across this, why am I playing guitar through a bass amp anyway? So it all happened if you go back to Guess This Amp Part 1. So at the church where I played at, there was this, I was playing through a Trainer tube amp, and then it kind of crapped out one day just at rehearsal. So before church service started, there was a little amp on the back shelf in the storage room, and it was this Fender Rumble 15. And I said, I'll just use that, and it'll be good enough, we'll mic it. And I was, long story short, I was so impressed with it, I dropped into the music store, my local music store, the next day, and lo and behold, they had one in the rental department, and they sold it to me for like 75 bucks. So, and there it is. So what I did is I brought home the one from church. So the one from church is like brand new still. It still has a little sticker on it, and that's the one I'd used. And this is the one that I bought. So right now they both have the same speakers in them. I pulled the grill cloths, which is over there. So I pulled the grill cloths off of them just to do a test. And this, for the sake of this experiment, with the new speaker in and everything's going to be set the same. So if you can see over there, the volume's at like, I don't know the volume's like a quarter of the ways up, and then the bass, mid, and trebles are 3/4 of the ways up, and same thing with this. And the only difference between these two amps is this little switch that I installed in mine. So this switch allows me to use the amp as the Rumble 15, or I can switch this, shut the amp off, disconnect the amp, and I can, with that jack that I installed back there, I can use it as a small speaker cabinet for an external amp. So that was kind of something I was thinking of doing. Another thing I'm thinking of doing, if after this test is done, is down here I was thinking maybe I'd take like a hole saw and cut some holes, like sort of like ports, just to get some air in there. Because guitar speakers tend to have open backs. Now I can't open the back on this cab just the way it's made back there, but I could put some ports in there to get some air, more air flowing, and maybe get even more, guitar-esque frequencies maybe coming out of this thing. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. There wouldn't be so much like ports. Like it wouldn't be like a ported system. It would be more or less just to move some air. I don't know if that would help, being that they'd be in front of the cab, but if you guys have any experience with that, please comment and let me know. So yeah, those are the two amps. We're going to compare them right now. And this is the pedal board I'll be using. So this is my pedal board when I used to gig, back when there wasn't a, you know, deadly virus circulating the globe. So I'll be using this SP compressor. It'll be set on low mode, and it's just set kind of neutral. I'll be using a Wampler Clarksdale to see how this thing handles overdrive. Pretty much everything just set at 12, which is not how I would set it if I was actually gigging, but it'll have to do, just for the sake of experiment. Then I'm using a Tumnus Deluxe. Again, everything kind of set at 12 o'clock. And the volumes are just set so that I have kind of balance between like no effects and effects or whatever. So not one. And then I have a little bit of delay on, just to wet the sound a little bit. And I'll try hitting the spark. It's just a booster just to see if, you know, if it works with those amps and stuff. And maybe throw some wah on there and see what kind of tones you can get with the wah pedal. So, and just for sake of, you know, experimenting, I'll be using my trying to show you this. So this is my, I guess, handmade guitar, which I've had for years and years. So I've always, you know, had a thing for Telecasters. If you've watched my videos, you'll obviously know that. But I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. I hate them. They're so uncomfortable to play. They're like a big cutting board with strings on them. So that's why I like the Earth Tele, because it's got all these contours on it. So years ago, before like Earth and, you know, those guitars were even in the picture, I used to have a Wolfgang that I really liked, but it was really more of a metal guitar, so I didn't really care for it. So I traced the Wolfgang on a piece of paper, like the body of it. I took it to a luthier down here in PI, and he built me this, which is a kind of a solid piece of alder, and it's got a slight forearm contour. It's got a nice contoured heel in the back. It's a nice block of wood. There's really nothing on it, just some hand-rubbed finishes on it. And very simple Babbitt's bridge. These pickups are from Vaughan Scow. So they're Vaughan Scow Velvet Tele pickups. They're not cheap, but man, I really, really like them. They sound great in almost any amp you plug them in. I got a reverse control switch. And yeah, some locking tuners, and that's about it. It's a quarter saw maple neck, a maple fretboard, and stainless steel frets. So that's kind of my workhorse. It's been my kind of gigging guitar every weekend. You can't kill it. It just does the job. So that's it. That's what I'll be using for this little experiment. So I'm about 8 feet away. You can see the amps back there. So, and the pedal board is right here. So I'm about 8 feet away from the amps. The phone will be about 4 feet out from the front of the amps, and hopefully this mic will, you know, pick up something properly. I don't know. I don't know how you guys do it. You YouTube, like you real YouTubers, like you know. To get the sounds you get, man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with all you guys who post videos and stuff. It's just so helpful. I'm just trying to not do the same. I wouldn't insult you by saying that, but I'm just trying to you know, put out some videos with different things in case maybe somebody out there like me is kind of wondering, yeah, I wonder if I could mod this thing. Or I wonder what it would sound like if I played guitar through a bass amp. Or I wonder, right? I don't know. It's just fun. But anyway, I find your videos so helpful, and maybe this could help someone, or just make someone curious, or answer a few questions maybe, or that are lurking there, or whatever. So so yeah. So I'm gonna hit pause on this. I'm gonna put this down, get ready, and then we'll run some sound clips. So same amps. I just want to make sure that they sound the same, because I know mine is used. It was in the rental department. The bass has been played through it, so it's quite possible the speaker might be more broken in. and I'm not 100% sure if the tones are the same. So we're going to find out in just a minute. Yeah, so we're going to do that first, and then assuming that the tones are close, I'll put that speaker in my cab, and then we'll compare the two again. All right, so peace out. I'll be right back. All right, we are ready to go. So the phone is smack dab in the middle of those 2 amps. I guess you don't really need to see my ugly mug. So I just wanted to set that up so you could see the pedals, and then I can call them out as I hit them. And at that height, it's pretty much level with the speakers. So hopefully you'll get a true representation of what they sound like. Okay, so we're going to do mine first. I'm going to run through a couple of clean sounds, and then I'll go over and switch them, and then we'll do the Tumnus, and then or the Clarksdale first, and then we'll do the Tumnus just for some heavier gain stuff and see how these amps compare to one another. And then we'll switch the speaker and go through that again. All right, so here we go with some cleanish tones. So I just have compressor, a little bit of delay on, that's it. Switch that. Here's the church amp. It sounds better. It's probably just because it's blessed. Pretty darn close to being the same. All right, let me go switch amps again. All right, so there's mine. And how about some Clarksdale on there? Clarksdale is on. Doesn't sound half bad for a bass amp. Let's try this one. Switch this again. So there's my amp again. Let's try the Tumnus. church amp again. Back to mine. I'm going to throw both of these overdrives on for this last test to see when you stack them if the amps crap out or if they hold pretty true. So both of them are on. Oh, I get lots of noise. Oh, that's heavy stuff. Oh, that one hums too. Alright, let's mute that. Well, there you go. Those are the two amps. Same volume, you know, same tone stack, settings. Obviously, same pedals, same guitar, same distance from the camera. I feel like mine may have been a little brighter compared to the church one. Not 100% sure. And maybe, you know, maybe how the volume buttons and the tone stack buttons are installed, they're just those push ones. Like they could be off by like one spleen or whatever. You know how they're made to look like a little mini cog inside, the little teeth. They could be off slightly. So even though they're set the same, they might not quite be set the same. So anyway, so I'm gonna hit my camera on pause. I'm gonna swap that speaker and see if there's a audible difference. I'm kind of guessing there isn't going to be, so I don't know, depending on your comments and stuff, I might just send that speaker back. Either way, I'm keeping the amp as a nice little practice amp. It just goes on my computer desk, doesn't take up a lot of space, and don't have to change tubes, and whatever, it sounds, you know, good enough for my playing ability. So anyway, we'll be back in, well, for you, just the flash, but for me, a couple minutes. I'm just going to change that speaker, and we'll go through the same kind of stuff. Thanks for your patience. I'll be right back.